Motivation doesn't die when things go wrong. It dies when things feel normal. It usually starts on a random Monday. You wake up early, you open your notebook, you make a plan. This time, I'm serious. And for a few days, it works. You study longer, you feel focused, you even start imagining a better version of yourself. Then, quietly, something slips. You skip one session, then another, then suddenly, it's gone. No energy, no urgency, no reason to continue. And the weird part? Nothing dramatic happened. No crisis, no failure, no bad news. Just nothing. And that's exactly the problem. Because most students think motivation dies when something goes wrong. But the truth is colder than that. Motivation doesn't die when things go wrong. It dies when things feel normal. And right now, that's happening more often than you realize. Because the system inside your brain was never designed to keep you consistent. It was designed to keep you interested. And those two things are not the same. Every time you decide to get serious, your brain does something interesting. It releases dopamine. Not when you achieve something, but when you imagine achieving it. That moment when you plan your schedule, watch a productivity video, or tell yourself, this time will be different. That's the peak. Not the work, the idea of the work. And in that moment, your brain already rewards you, which means something dangerous happens. You feel like you've made progress before doing anything. That's why day one feels easy. You're not running on discipline, you're running on excitement. Day two, still fine. Day three, slight resistance. Day four, now the illusion starts breaking because reality shows up. The work is repetitive, the results are invisible, the effort feels heavier than expected, and suddenly, your brain asks a quiet question. Why am I doing this again? Not emotionally, logically, because the reward you imagined isn't here yet, and your brain hates delayed rewards. It's actually terrible at valuing them. Here's the uncomfortable math. If you study 3 hours today, you gain almost nothing visible today. If you skip it, you also lose almost nothing visible today. So in the short term, both choices feel the same. But one requires effort, the other doesn't. So your brain picks the easier one. Not because you're lazy, because your brain is efficient. And in this situation, efficiency is your biggest enemy. There's another layer most students miss. Your brain tracks novelty, not importance. When something is new, your attention spikes. New semester, new subject, new routine, everything feels fresh. But within a few days, your brain adapts. The same notes, the same desk, the same chapters. Nothing feels new anymore. And when novelty drops, motivation drops with it. This is why you can binge a new show for hours, but struggle to study for 20 minutes. The show keeps changing. Your textbook doesn't. So your brain labels one as engaging and the other as draining, even if the textbook matters more. And here's the irony. The more important something is, the harder it becomes to stay motivated doing it, because important things are repetitive, and repetition kills interest. Now add one more problem: progress blindness. When you go to the gym, you feel your muscles. When you play a game, you see your score. When you scroll, you get instant feedback. But when you study, nothing happens. No visible upgrade, no immediate reward, no clear signal that you're improving. You read 10 pages and your brain goes, okay, and? So it starts doubting the process. That turns into disengagement, then avoidance, and eventually, quitting. Not because you failed, but because you couldn't feel progress. And humans don't stick to things they can't feel. This is where most advice breaks. Stay disciplined. Be consistent. Just push through. Sounds good. Doesn't work. Because it ignores what's actually happening underneath. You're not fighting laziness. You're fighting biology. A system that prioritizes immediate rewards over delayed ones. Novelty over repetition. Visible progress over invisible effort. And here's the part nobody says out loud. That system is winning. Look at your last 7 days. How many things did you plan but not follow through? How many times did motivation disappear within 48 hours? It's not random, there's a pattern. Motivation spikes, then decays. Every time. Day 1, you feel in control. Day 2, you feel productive. Day 3, slightly tired. Day 4, resistance. Day 5, disconnected. Day 6, you stop. Day 7, you reset. And then it repeats, each time with less belief, less intensity, until eventually you stop starting. And that's the real danger. Not losing motivation, but losing the habit of trying. There's something even more subtle happening. Identity lag. You still see yourself as someone who struggles to stay consistent. So even when you improve, your brain doesn't update that identity fast enough. And when things get hard, you fall back to the old version of yourself because it feels familiar, safe, predictable. So progress becomes unstable because it's built on an identity you haven't fully accepted yet. Now zoom out. This isn't just about studying, it shows up everywhere. Gym routines, learning skills, building habits, even relationships. We start with intensity, then reality interferes, then motivation fades, and we quietly exit without understanding why. And each time this happens, your brain collects evidence. See? You don't stick to things. Not loudly, just slowly, until it becomes a belief. And beliefs are harder to fix than habits. So now you're in a strange position. You know motivation fades. You've seen it happen again and again. And yet, every time you restart, you still expect it to last. That's the illusion. You treat motivation like fuel, something that should keep you going. But it's not. It's just a spark. And sparks don't last. They're not supposed to. Which leads to an uncomfortable question. If motivation is temporary, if your brain resists repetition, if progress feels invisible, then what are you actually relying on? Because right now, most students are relying on a system that fails within days. Not because they're weak, but because the system is unstable. And unstable systems collapse. Predictably, repeatedly, quietly. And maybe the most unsettling part is this. You don't notice the damage immediately. Skipping one day feels harmless. Losing 1 week feels recoverable. But over time, your standards drop. Your confidence weakens. Your ability to trust yourself fades. Until one day, you're not even frustrated anymore. Just indifferent. And indifference is much harder to fix than failure, because at least failure means you tried. So the real problem isn't that students lose motivation, it's that they expect it to stay, even after it has proven it won't. And until that expectation changes, nothing else will. Not better schedules, not new techniques, not another burst of inspiration, because the pattern will repeat. It always does. So here's the question you're left with. If motivation is designed to fade, and your brain is designed to resist what matters most, then what would a system look like that actually works anyway? So motivation is designed to fade. Your brain resists what matters most. But here's what most people confuse this with. They think they're lazy. They're not. And in the next video, I'll show you exactly why. If that hits close to home, subscribe, because that video drops on Sunday. And if you've ever called yourself lazy, you don't want to miss it. But before you go, what day do you usually quit? Day 3? Day 5? Drop it in the comments below.